What is going on, crypto peeps? Finally back from Brazil. Glad to be here again. Glad to see you guys again. I'm back in my normal habitat, as you can see. Let's cue the guest up for today. Mr. Montana, always great to see you, buddy. Always welcome on the show. So what I wanted to go over today was a Bitcoin chart that you guys are probably overlooking, or most people are overlooking. And this is just based on anecdotal evidence from talking to you guys and from seeing what videos are out there and what people are actually talking about and what indicators people are looking at in order to determine Bitcoin's movement. So, and the crypto, and in essence, the crypto markets movement in general, right? So most of you probably have your go-to technical analysis tools, right? You have the trend lines, the MACD, the RSI, the Fib, etc. And there's a certain combination of these tools that you like to use in order to make your market predictions and analysis. But the one thing that I see overlooked a lot, and I use this a lot in my analysis, is a market sentiment indicator, right? And what I use for this is a chart that basically looks at the BTC long positions versus the short positions. Now, I don't want this to be a video on shorting. That is for a separate video. A lot of you have asked me about this off topic, but just really quick, for those of you, I'm sure you've heard of the term shorting or short, as in the movie The Big Short, for instance. But if you're not really familiar with what shorting is essentially a type of investment or a type of trade that allows you to sell the security at a certain price with the expectation that the price will go down. So for instance, if we take a look at Bitcoin's current price, it is at 8,800. Wow, we saw a little bump today. So it is at 8,800. So what you would do in order to short, say for instance at 8,800, your expectation is that Bitcoin will not sustain this level and in the near future will be taking a dip. So in order to make money on this dip, you would short Bitcoin at 8,800, meaning you would sell it at 8,800 before even buying it, right? You'd sell it before buying it. So you'd sell it at 8,800, expect it to go down, and say it goes down to 7,700, and you then buy back in order to cover your sale, but you sold at 8,800 and you bought at 7,700, so you made $1,100 on each Bitcoin, right? So that is essentially what shorting is. Obviously, you need to have a margin account in order to do that. Bitfinex. So if we take a look at the exchanges here on CoinMarketCap, Bitfinex, which is usually in the top 5 or 6 in terms of volume for cryptos, is, I believe, the #1 exchange that allows you to do USD to BTC shorting. Now, you can do shorting on, say, I think OKX, and I think BitThumb or Upbit, one of those two had announced shorting a little bit ago, but they allow you to short against USDT, I believe. But Bitfinex is the one exchange that allows you to do USD shorting on margin, or BTC shorting on margin against USD. And trading on margin is like saying trading on credit, where the exchange loans you a certain amount of money based on your leverage ratio. So a 2-to-1 margin account allows you, if you have $1,000, allows you to trade with $2,000, 1,000 of your principal, and plus 1,000 that the exchange loans you on margin. Obviously, that comes with its own interest implications and fees, etc. But again, we don't want to get into the details of shorting. You just need to know a summary of what a short is in order to look at this chart. So here is the chart that I was talking about. BTC USD longs versus BTC USD shorts. This data comes from Bitfinex. Now, if you're going to be looking or searching for this chart on TradingView, it's actually pretty hard to get to. I will leave a link in the description because it's not front and center when you search for it. But I'll leave a link in the description showing this. And what this is basically, it's not a price-based chart. So if you look on the right, this is a ratio, right? This is a chart that shows you the long contracts divided by the short contracts on Bitfinex. So the higher this is, the more longs there are in comparison to shorts. The lower this is, the less longs there are in comparison to shorts. And a long is exactly the opposite of a short. It's basically buying Bitcoin or any security with the expectation that it will rally in the near future. Now, the reason this is significant and the way that we can use this in our trading, in our analysis, is because it is an indicator of market sentiment. It tells you what the market is feeling about the price of the certain security. If the market feels that the price is too high, you will see more short positions come in because there's an expectation that the security itself is going to decline in price. If the market feels that that price point is too low, you will see more longs coming in comparison to shorts with the expectation that the price will rise, right? And if you take this in conjunction with your regular analysis, so if you look at the MACD, you look at the RSI, the trend lines, etc., and you want an extra point of confirmation to try and read what the market sentiment is, the long versus short data is really helpful. Obviously, there is a certain level of market sentiment with the RSI, with the volume, etc., but this is an additional point of confirmation that is really helpful. And the reason that I like this as opposed to these other, not as opposed to, I mean, in conjunction with these other indicators, but it is different than the other indicators in that these indicators here are what are called lagging indicators, meaning these indicators are formed, the data of these indicators are formed after the price is already determined. So it's lagging behind the price. The reason that I like this is because it allows you to see a tiny bit into the future. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So looking at this alone doesn't really give you much information. What I like to do is pull up Bitcoin's price side by side with the longs versus shorts data. So if we could do this in a couple of different ways, there is a Bitcoin price indicator that developers have created that really help out with this. And the one that I like to use is BTC USD average right here. So this right here, let me just make this line brighter because it's black and it's not helping anybody with regards to being able to see it. So this right here is Bitcoin's price based on the average of the different exchanges, right? And if you look at the price now, it's at around 8,800, which is the same price that it's at here. So currently it's at 88.37, same as here. So what I mean by being able to see a little bit into the future, and the MACD and the RSI and those indicators being lagging indicators versus this one. If you take a look at the long versus shorts ratio, and again, the way that this works is the lower this is, the less longs there are in comparison to shorts. The higher this number is, the more longs there are in comparison to shorts. So if you look at this, for instance, it's at 3.7 at this top right here. That means there are 3.7 as many longs as there are shorts. So what I mean by being able to see a little bit into the future is this. So you see that we see a huge drop off right here. And this is, again, is a 12-hour chart. I find that this indicator works best on longer term charts. In crypto, yes, 12 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours a day, those are considered longer term than, you know, the 1 hour or 15-minute or 30-minute, for instance. So, and in order to get 8 hours and 12 hours, you do have to have a pro account for TradingView. You can get a 30-day free trial. I'll leave that link in the description, or you can just use the day view if you want. So we see the longs decreasing in comparison to shorts, meaning the shorts are increasing. But look at where the price is. It hasn't bottomed out yet, right? So here you see this is where the bottom of the longs versus shorts are, right? For this period right here. But the price hasn't bottomed out yet. And that's because it takes a little bit of time for the price to react to this market sentiment, right? So people are putting in their positions, but you don't see a reaction to the sentiment until a few candles later. So if we look at this right here, this was January 31st. The price didn't bottom out on Bitcoin until February 5th. And the same thing happens for the other way, right? So you see that after it bottomed out, we saw this rally here in long positions, right? Meaning that the market recognized that this was a low, at least for that certain time. And, you know, the market was not comfortable in keeping Bitcoin at this low price. So you saw the long positions increase and increase parabolically. So we go from this price here, which is, this was the time that we hit 6,000 in 2018. And you see it rally all the way up to 11,600, right? This is the recent high that we've had after January. Now, this doesn't happen until a few days later, right? So this 11,600 that we see here doesn't happen until February 19th, whereas this parabolic rise here happened right after the price bottomed out. So you could have taken a look at this chart and seen what the market sentiment was, seen that we were on an uptrend in the longs versus shorts, and that, you know, along with the other indicators, received market confirmation that yes, there was positive market sentiment that was going to drive the price higher. And again, you know, if you go back as far back as this data is compiled, you'll see the same dynamic occur. So we see this drop right here in longs, right? And you don't really see the effects of that until a little bit later, where, you know, you see the price bottom out here. And then there's this little rally, and you don't see the price rally back up until a few candles later or a few days later. So that is why I really like this indicator, because it is reading the market sentiment and is giving you a little bit of a heads up as to what is going to happen, and also giving you another point of confirmation after you do your technical analysis. Now, if you don't like this view where, you know, you have the USD longs and shorts, the chart here, and then the Bitcoin price here, you can actually add this insight to your regular BTC chart. So there is an actual indicator. If you click on indicators here and you type in Bitfinex, you'll see that there are a bunch of longs versus shorts indicators based on the Bitfinex data. And I have one already here. I'll just unhide it. You could see this right here is the exact same thing as this, right? It's just in a line pattern in an indicator form. And this is really helpful because you can see it in conjunction with your other analysis and other indicators. So again, this reads the same exact way as this does here. Let me just go ahead and hide these drawing tools real quick, just to show you one last example so that we can conclude and review what we were talking about. So you see here, for instance, this is January 23rd to about January 31st. You'll see this drop off here, meaning there are less longs versus shorts, right? So people are less optimistic about the market, and you don't really see the price of BTC reflect this until a few days later. Same thing as this rise from the drop off, right? You see the point here, the high point here in the longs versus shorts. This happens on February 11th, and we don't see the swing high indicated on the price chart until a few days later on around February 19th and February 20th, right? This is when we hit that 11,600. So you'll see this pattern repeated over and over again. Just like every other indicator, you know, they're best when taken in conjunction with each other, and you have as many points of confirmation as possible. So I still obviously look at the volume, I still look at the MACD, the RSI, but this is something that you should not overlook, as it tells you direct market sentiment and is not a lagging indicator in the same way that the RSI and the MACD and the trend lines even are, or the moving averages are. Right? It gives you a little bit of a heads up, as you can see here. That is it for this video. I hope you learned something today. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, comment, go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll be having a live stream very soon. And I left the market analysis, the daily market analysis, out of these videos because I noticed, looking back at my other videos, that when I do include the market analysis in the beginning, it tends to date the video. So I don't want the subject matter itself to appear stale, because it's not. But, you know, when you do a market update for that day in the beginning of the video, it tends to date the video a little bit. So I'll keep the market updates separate. I'll continue to do them as much as possible on a daily basis, but I will leave the subject matter videos on their own and do the market analysis separate from the subject matter videos. Also, join the Discord. It's 100% free. You can find me on here every day. There's also a beginner section that shows you the basic trading patterns or trend patterns, as well as a trading dictionary that I do need to update. But go ahead and join it. We have interesting discussions every single day, productive discussions. We learn from one another, and you can find me on here in case you have a question. Also, if you're interested in the trade alerts and the weekly picks, join the Patreon below. Most recently, we had a successful swing trade alert for BTC for 10% profits, which we were all happy about, especially in the down market. So go ahead and join if you're so inclined. All right, guys, stay safe out there. Peace.